So next week we have a complete or full solar eclipse here in North America. So let's see if I can explain to you why we have solar eclipse, and then we'll see if we can make sure that we protect our eyes so we can enjoy the show. So how do eclipses happen? So if we have a sun right here, like this, and we have energy going this way, this is wonderful, especially if we are here on our planet, we have Earth, and we are enjoying the day. However, when we are going at night, we have our Earth that is rotating on itself. So here during so Earth goes like this. We have the Earth that is rotating and therefore giving us days and night. So what will happen on April 8th? So here in North America, we'll be able to see a full solar eclipse. So what happens is that when we think about our moon is orbiting our Earth at an angle like this. It does happen that it's depending on how the perspective we have. From the sun, it looks like we have a moon going this way or this way. But ever so often, it looks like it's horizontal. So what happens is that if we have a moon that is like this, the consequence is that the light rays are going right here and they're stopping and they're not going any further. And therefore, what is happening on Earth here? So let's see if I can change the scale of the drawing so I can explain it a little bit more. So let's do a bigger Earth like this. And we have a moon that is right here. So what happens when we have our Earth and the moon like this is that when we have a full light going here, we have here a full moon on the other side and a new moon from our perspective. Consequence is that here we have a spot behind the moon that is completely dark. You're going to say, how come there's a place on Earth that is completely dark? Let's have a look. If the light goes straight, it stops by the moon. And if it happens that we go here, lights are going and radiating away from the sun. But the light that is coming from the top of the sun right here goes to the edge right here and goes to this point right there. If we have the bottom part of our sun, the light goes here and goes there. However, there's no light going straight from the moon. Consequence of that is that here we have a place that is quite dark, and then we have here a circular part where we have this one here is a full solar eclipse, and on this one here we have what we call a partial solar eclipse. So if I remember well, when I edit the video, I'm going to put here or here a link to a video I did in 2017 for partial solar eclipse that happened right here where I live. And I'm also going to put the link at the end of the video. It's something exciting. So the whole idea here is that we have a full solar eclipse coming. So here, I live in the Toronto area, right here. Toronto will be just on the edge, so it will be almost a full solar eclipse, but it will be partial. If you go to Niagara Falls, either Niagara Falls in Canada or United States, you will have a full eclipse. So let's see if I can have access to visuals for you. So here, this is what the total eclipse will look like. So when it first starts, we'll have our full sun, and then the moon will move because the moon is orbiting around the Earth and will slowly cover the whole Earth. And then the only thing we'll see will be a full eclipse. Now, what is interesting here is that it will cover all of the sun and we'll be able to see the corona of the sun right here. It does happen that depending on where we are, we might see an eclipse that will look like this, or like this, or like this, or may look on this way depending on where you are. So let's see if I can find our map. Perfect. Look at this. It works now. It's great. So here's an example. So I'm going to just extend a little bit. So we have here a map of North America. And here this is where the path of the total eclipse will be. So that means that if you go on one side or the other, then you'll have partial eclipse. So if you look here, we're gonna go, so we have here Toronto area right here. Can I make it a bit bigger so you see? So Toronto area is right there. We have Niagara Falls here on the Canadian side, the United States side, and here we have a total eclipse. So the idea here is that my plan for April 8th is to go in this area here in the Niagara Peninsula to see if I can see that total eclipse. The whole thing here, I'm setting up some things so that I'm going to show that to you next week. I'm also looking forward to going there and hoping that we won't have any cloud cover for that day. I know I was listening to some astronomers, and they're actually traveling to Mexico, where they hope, if I step back a little bit, they hope to be able to see the total eclipse right here, knowing that in Mexico, the chances are for rain is much smaller than here in North America, given the season. So that'll be exciting. So let's see if I can add some more information. Now, when we are looking at the total eclipse, you have to be mindful that your eyes is an instrument for you to interpret light around you. So you have to be careful. So let's see if I can show you how the eyes look like. So if you have an eye like this, you have light coming in. But what happens is that you have here the cornea. Here you have let's see. So the pupil is right there. So this is here the lens in our eyes. And here you have the retina. The issue with the retina is that it is projecting. It is a projection of the image or the object in front of you. But if it is a star, like our sun, the difficulty is that the rays will come here and therefore will be going and concentrated right at the back of your eye. I think I have another example here. So there you go. If you have here a large object, it will project at the back of your retina. If you have a small object like the sun, it will concentrate here how the sun will look like. But because there's a lens here, and because there's a lot of energy coming from the sun, we don't want to damage your retina. So that's why we say never, never look at the sun without protection. So that's something that is important. So the question we have here is, how can we see the eclipse and still be safe? So here are a few options for you. If you don't have any equipment, you can decide to take your hands. You see, you cross your fingers like this, and it will create small holes where you'll be able to see the solar eclipse. So from partial to total to partial afterwards. Here another example. If you like crochet or you have something that is knitted or crocheted, you'll be able to have many little holes, and then you can have many little solar eclipse to be able to see. I have other example here. So here's an example. We have a spoon with a little hole, like a ladle for soup, for example, or pasta. And you could see here we have many little suns. So if we can find a way to create something for us to watch the solar eclipse, let's see what we can do. So here we have the crossed fingers, and you can see here how you can actually see this, the solar eclipse. So here there's a few ways you can do this. You can use optical projection. So if it happens you have a telescope, you could decide to aim it and have the sun projected on a piece of paper. Then again, you never want to watch the sun directly or even look at the sun through the telescope. It's the opportunity, no. The problem with that is that the chances are for your eyes to be slightly damaged to permanently damaged is very high. So you don't want to do that. So let's see if we can look at an example. So here is let's see the Canadian Space Agency, and I'm going to put here the link in the comments for you. And if you're watching this video, like a repeat of this video, I'll have the link in the comments. So, this is the French version. So let's see if I can put the English version for you. There we go. So I'm going to put the English version here in the comments below. Perfect. So what do they propose? If you watch the sun directly, it is dangerous. So let's see if we can look at the sun indirectly. So here we have what we call a pinhole box. So you're creating a projector to help you see the sun. So the way it works is that you take a box, and usually it's a long box, and you will have a hole where you'll be able to see, and you will create a little hole here with it's a pinhole. So you'll take, let's say, a thumbtack or a needle, and you'll make a little hole. And what will happen is that the light from the sun will go through the pinhole, and here will project the sun on a piece of paper here. This is very, very similar to how an eye is set up, where you have here the pupil, the light are coming through, and here we have a retina. So let's go back. You want to project your sun on a piece of paper, so the sun is not in your eyes, but you are watching a projection of it. So this is quite nice. Here we have, so the idea here, I've seen some people where if you take a short box, it might be hard to create a focus of your box. I've seen people that are using, for example, when you purchase, for example, a carpet or a map, it's a box usually that is 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter, maybe a meter, 1.3 meters in length. And therefore, what you can do is that you can play with the size of the pinhole and see where you can focus your piece of paper. Because here, this is a perfect situation. You might have to hang the paper, let's say from this part, hanging here, or from here, hanging there, to be able to have a focused piece of information. And let's see if I can add that. So how do the pinholes work? So if you have an object like this, and you have a box, and you have a pinhole, what will happen is the light that comes straight from the middle of the tree here will go straight through the pinhole, and it will be the center here. Light that is from the top here will go down, and that will show us the top of the tree. And here we have the bottom of the tree through the pinhole, and then you have the bottom of the tree. So you have an inverted image. However, in this example, the distance between this plane where the pinhole is and this plane where the projection is perfect to show it beautifully. In real life, you may have to move that plane where the projection is to make sure you maximize and have the clearest image as possible. So the whole idea here is that it's something we can do. For people that like some math and they like to do physics, so I'm going to put the link in the descriptions later. So what is interesting, there's a formula for the pinhole in the box. And this is from the fact that some people are using pinhole cameras. So you actually take pictures with the pinhole camera. And what happens is that you can, depending on the size of the pinhole, you can actually change the focal length of the axis where the light is coming through. And what happens here is that that's why you have to change where the projected plane is. However, it allows to get to bigger object or smaller object. So far, I'm putting together my setup for the eclipse on April the 8th, and I'm able to get a sun that will be about 2 centimeters in diameter. I'm trying to see if I can increase it to 10. That's my plan for today and this weekend, so I can record the eclipse on the 8th. So this is the interesting part. So here, we're going to go to this one here. Perfect. So we have our map here, and I hope that you'll be able to see the eclipse. Hopefully the weather will be nice, keeping in mind that when the eclipse will happen, you do not want to see it directly unless you have maybe some glasses. Some people on Amazon and a few companies, they can actually see. Some people, if you are thinking, you can have glasses so that you can watch the sun. Even though those glasses are useful, I will still be very mindful to use them. So I have some of them for next week, but I will still make sure that I look at the projection more than looking at the sun directly. I think it's quite important. So if you've enjoyed this video so far, don't hesitate to put a thumbs up and subscribe. There you go, vocabulary today. Subscribe to our channel. And if you have any clarification questions, put them in the comments below. I will be more than happy to read them and answer the questions as we go along. If you are watching this video as a repeat, then I always look at your comments and use your topics for our show, because I have a science show every week on Saturday.